Yeah, before we get to some of the other news, let me give you an update. We are a little bit over an hour away from the tag deadline here, so let me give you the update. We have so far tagged as Higgins, T. Higgins, L'Jarius Sneed, Brian Burns, Justin Umbuke, never pronounced the name right, the Baltimore defensive tackle, Antoine Whitfield, and Jalen Johnson. And the reports say Saquon, Christian Wilkins will not be tagged. I guess there's no surprises there, really.
And and Duggar got the transaction tag.
Transition tag, yes. But there is a little bit of breaking news here regarding the Seattle Seahawks. We understand they have a brand new coach. Mike McDonald is their coach, which means a different defense they've run before. So they've decided to release both Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs.
That's both two of their safeties.
Both their safeties, saving $27.5 million. Does that surprise you, though, with a new defense, new coach coming in?
I'm surprised that they would get rid of both of them.
Yeah.
It does save them a you-know-what load of money. Obviously, Adams is the bigger name nationally around here. Look, with Tracy Walker gone, depending on the money, I'd have no problem with Quandre Diggs coming here. He was never here under the new administration, but he would fit this culture a lot.
Yeah, it tells me Seattle's going to go young. They're going to hit the draft heavy. They're drafting starters, not just guys to come in and back up. Yeah, they're hitting the reset button out there. So it's going to be interesting to see because, I would have gotten rid of one, not both.
Yeah, probably keep Diggs because Adams would have been the most money there you could save there. So yesterday we did a mock draft, and in the mock draft it had J.J. McCarthy getting drafted number 4, a trade up for the Giants. Well, we might understand why. There's a report here, and Rich Eisen continued the report, but there's a report here that the Giants are having buyer's remorse on Daniel Jones.
Oh, gee, a little late.
They know they're stuck for another year, but they are having buyer's remorse, basically saying, yeah, he ain't it. And Rich Eisen went on to say on his show that the team is regretting the $160 million they gave to him, and they are absolutely done with Daniel Jones.
Not only that, I think they're done with Saquon. You're about to see the Giants seriously hit the reset button. Somebody's going to be like this because he's not going to be happy. But at least they admit now we've made mistakes. We're not going to pay these high price tags. We're going to go young. I do think they're going to try to move up in the draft, but yeah, between that and Daniel Jones' contract that you knew back then, this was a bad deal. He wasn't that good.
I think they go for like a bridge quarterback before they would even draft JJ and take, if he's still there, what's his face, Neighbors from LSU. That way you can, if you're going to suck, the quarterback coming out next year maybe better than JJ McCarthy.
See, I don't know because you're sitting right there. What are they, 6?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like one of those, are you ever going to be this bad again? Because think about it. In order to be drafting that high,
right,
you're throwing the entire season away again. And you're telling your fan base, be patient. We're going to serve you hot garbage one more year. I think they're just going to go for it, try to move up to that 4th pick. I'm thinking that they probably go with the Arizona pick, and that's maybe where they go after JJ and move up 2 spots to 4. It'll cost them another number 1, but JJ better be worth it.
See, if I'm them, if I'm moving up to 4, I'm taking Marvin Harrison before I'm taking JJ, but that's just me.
Yeah, get yourself that wide receiver. Someone who's probably you don't like to say lock, but he's pretty much a lock.
Yes.
So let's get here to a little 49ers news for you, Rico. One, I think you might agree with because you also said here that you don't want to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown. But Brandon Ayuk is a trade candidate, according to ESPN's Dan Graziano, because Ayuk is he's set to play on $14 million option this year, but he wants way more than that. He wants to be one of the highest paid wide receivers. And then this news for you. We all saw that Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, received a $5 million raise pretty much. He's getting $5 or $6 million a year to be the DC and KC. Mm-hmm. Well, here's why. The Niners explored the possibility of hiring Steve Spagnuolo for their defensive coordinator position after the Super Bowl loss. Thoughts on both of those?
Yeah, David, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, it was almost 24 hours after the Super Bowl, and they really put out some serious feelers to see what's the best way to beat the Chiefs. Take their defensive coordinator. And that the Chiefs got wind of that and said, nope, we're going to lock that up. The Brandon Ayuk thing, I don't like paying wide receivers that much. I think that wide receiver is a position that every year there's going to be a young guy who could do the same thing that this guy is doing. And I know we get caught up on names, but if Ayuk tries to break the bank, you got to let him go because to me, he's not a one of one.
Well, guys, speaking of wide receivers getting paid, I think this guy's about to break the bank. Reports say that the Patriots wanted to land Evans, the wide receiver for the Buccaneers. Of course, he's going back to the Bucs. Calvin Ridley will be their next target. It says a report here, according to the Boston Globe. They were going to regret maybe paying Calvin Johnson top dollar. Calvin Ridley top dollar.
Yeah, I think he's a good player, but I wouldn't pay him top dollar. Not at all.
No.
I wouldn't bet on him doing it either.
No, because like I said, receivers, and they have a shelf life, and when they start going down, now you're good as a 2 or a 3, but I think Ridley's days is being that one those are over.
And let's close it out with this, because the NFL Combine just finished over the weekend, and we all know what happens. There's talk everywhere about teams, about players, and about the league. And something that came out is the 18-game schedule. Pro Football Talk was talking to the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, and they talked about moving the trade deadline a week. And then he says, no, we'll probably move it 2 weeks because we're probably one day going to get to 18 games.
There's no doubt that's happening. Yeah. There's not a doubt in the world.
Because 17 is a weird number. So, yeah, it's uneven. Yeah, I'm with you, Stoney. You know that this is going to be inevitable. It's like certain things, like the college football playoffs.
Yes.
Eventually we'll hit 16 instead of 14. Now, here's what I don't understand. Why is it's still a 53-man roster? If you're playing extra games, it seems like you should at least expand the roster to 60 players.
Of course. First of all, it gives you a chance in case there are injuries, number one. But no, they're not going to do that because the NFL, they don't make enough money. You know what would it cost the NFL to add a few players to each team? Oh, my Lord.
Well, they are a struggling business.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable.
But I've never understood, like, guys, you've expanded. Like, I blame the players' union for this.
Well, it's the worst union in sports.
Because I got to think that, okay, we'll take this expansion, but that means that every team gets 7 extra jobs, which if I'm an older player, I'm excited for because that means maybe I stick around for an extra year or 2 getting one of those spots. Not a practice spot, but an actual spot because of injuries. You're playing longer games. You now have to travel over the seas to play games. Yeah, this is a horrible union, but yes, to answer your question, David, it's going to hit 18 games. That's inevitable. I don't know what they're waiting on, but
apparently to the story, it says they have to wait on maybe a new CBA, which is 2030. But I can imagine before then, they may talk to the players and say, look, let's do this in 4 years or 3 years or something like that.
They'll tell the players, hey, we're going to get you brand new training tables with your own personal chef. Really? I'm in. Let me sign. Here's some magic beans for you. Yeah, they're just not that smart.
Nothing happens. You're exactly right about that. And that is in football today.